are listening to Serenity Radio Network on Jerry Royce Live Worldwide at PositivePower21.org. We thank you for joining us. You can also find us on Elation Radio. Serenity is a Christian-based multicultural empowerment station that focuses on the mind, body, and spirit. The program specializes in bringing to the listeners the very best from the healing arts community on the subjects of self, health care, spiritual healing, and kingdom living. Serenity Radio is sponsored by the Serenity Weight Loss and Detoxification Program. To enroll, contact Michelle Edmonds, a.k.a. the Godmother, at 404-445-8579, or hit them up on Facebook at Serenity Weight Loss. The next voice that you hear will be that of our awesome host.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us and spending your evening with us. We hope you guys are gearing up for an amazing Christmas that's on its way right around the corner. I am your host this evening, Andrea Nichols Coleman, and we have Tracey will be joining us from Australia. Can you say hello, Tracey?
Hi, everybody. Good evening.
Tracey and I are so excited to be here with you all this evening because we know that when you are traveling through the holidays, that it is so hard with all of the little gift bags of goodies and cookies and candies and cakes and bread and all of the Christmas parties and the dinner parties and the luncheons and meeting your best friends for lunch for gift exchanges. It is a really hard time to make sure that you continue to eat clean. And so Tracey and I have some amazing tips to help you guys continue your clean diets through the holidays, the rest of the holidays. And we're going to share those with you this evening. And we're also going to share some yummy, yummy, yummy recipes that we have tried, that we have created, that we have been making for ourselves and for our family and friends, and that we have been taking to events with us over the past years. And they are tried and true and just yummy. And so we're so excited to share those with you. We just want to take a few minutes to open in prayer first before we get started. Dear God, we just want to come before you this evening, and we just want to reach everyone that you are bringing forth to be on this call with us. We know the blessing and the spirit that you bring forth when Tracey and Michelle and I are together, and we are together on this call again, Lord. We're here bowed at your feet, bowed at your cross to do your work, Lord. And we just pray that the words we speak that leave our tongue are your words, and that the people that we reach are the people that you have brought forth to hear our word. And we just pray that we bless them this evening in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
So, Tracey, tell me a time over Christmas that was the worst time ever that you splurged and spent the next 2 weeks recovering from it.
Oh, God, I think it's every Christmas.
Every Christmas.
I can't remember a Christmas I've never been sick on.
Oh, no.
Except for this Christmas, it's going to be different.
This one coming, right?
Yeah, this one coming is going to be so different. I have to listen to how I've changed my religion. But I think this year God gave me a shock of my life. So Christmas has to change. Not that my mother-in-law is going to change the cooking. She's going to cook what she wants to, and I guess my children are going to be suffering food coma, and my husband, because they don't want to upset her. But I most certainly am not eating all those things. I can't remember one Christmas in all my life being healthy or not being sick. I've been as sick as a dog. And, it lasts for 2 weeks because by the time your system flushes it out,
it does. It does.
Yeah.
It actually takes 30 days.
Bloated.
It actually takes 30 days.
Yeah,
and
1 month if you've eaten a lot.
Right. And when we went up this past October, my daughter, I don't know if you remember or not, but my daughter went up there and helped on one of the political campaigns. She was up there for 6 weeks, and she was up there over her 18th birthday. And she didn't care. She loved it, but to me it was just heart-wrenching. And so I loaded everybody up in the car. We drove up to Virginia, and the one place that she wanted to go for her birthday was a cheesecake factory. And we went we went to the Cheesecake Factory, and so I laughed, and I had everybody take a picture of their face, and I said 30 days from today, I told my sister, I want you to take another picture of your face, because what you see on your face 30 days from now is what you're putting in your body tonight here at Cheesecake Factory.
I know, it blows you up and your eyes pop out and you look like a pufferfish, and people don't understand that. I mean, Christmas, I feel, is a time for sharing, but definitely not for eating.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and where did all of that come from? Where did any of that even develop? All the food. How did we get from giving to hoarding all of that food and just eating, over the years of traditions? So, Tracey?
I know back in South Africa, Christmas Day was kind of a luxury for us because my mom would get up early in the morning and she would cook a turkey. She would curry a turkey, which was strange because it's usually roast turkey. But she'd curry a turkey and she'd make salad. It was just one dish, So you'd have curried turkey, you'd have salads, and you'd have handmade bread. That's like flat tortillas.
Right.
And that was basically Christmas dinner, or lunch and dinner. And then, she'd have a banana pudding with custard because nobody liked the fruit puddings.
Right.
So she'd have that. And,
or the fruit cake. I guess that's the fruit cake here.
Yeah. Nobody liked the Christmas pudding or the Christmas cake, so she'd make a banana cake. And that was basically what we ate because my mom was health conscious, So we didn't have anything. But when we came to Australia, and my first Christmas here, actually we did the same thing here. But then my first Christmas at my mother-in-law's house was like a 4-course meal. And I would never forget that Christmas, how sick I was. Oh, my God, I was as sick as I couldn't even get out of bed. And, nobody believed me when I said I was sick.
Right.
And that was the works, You had the antipasto, which was salami and prosciutto and cheeses and
oh, those are yummy.
Yeah, well, I thought that was all we were getting and didn't, And then out came the gnocchi,
Oh, yeah. We eat that too. So my family, my dad's family, his mother is first generation here in U.S. from Italy. And that's how we grew up with all of that same food. All that same food.
And I was like, oh, okay, this is the main meal, so that's all right. and then came soup, and I was like, oh, what are we doing now? Why is there soup on a Christmas day? And I was like, where are we putting all this? And then came the turkey and the lamb and the beef
and the fish. Yeah. And the fish and homemade meatballs.
And I was like, how can you mix all this? Like, it's just like a jumbo sale, you just got everything dumped on the table. And, everybody kind of ate everything. And I said, you can't mix fish with chicken and curry. Pork with, lamb. Can't you just have one meal? But that's what it was. And then after you had that, then you had to have cake. And it was all the, the tortas and the cheese strudels and you name it was out there. And to top that off, you had to have coffee.
Oh, so yes.
I don't know
dessert coffee.
Christmas is.
Not just coffee, dessert coffee.
Yeah.
With liqueur and cream and
yes.
whipped cream on top.
It's been like that for the 30 years that I've known them. And so this Christmas is different. This Christmas is going to be a healthy Christmas for me, my new religion, according to my mother.
Well, it's funny because I have been eating, I don't want to say I'm 100% clean because, sometimes you can't help what you eat, but I've been eating cleaner for so long now that I can actually endure the holidays. Just coming out of Thanksgiving, I eat very clean. As a matter of fact, I offered to bring the main dish to one of our gatherings that we had, and I made stuffed Cornish hen. And
that sounds nice.
Yeah, but I knew it was something I could eat, right? So I wanted to be in control of the diet and what was being served. And I said, you know what, there's 12 of us gathering, I'll bring the Cornish hen. And so I brought the Cornish hen and made a grain-free stuffing that I stuffed the Cornish hen with and cooked it up. And it was amazing. It was so good. And what was so wonderful about it was I cooked it. I knew it was clean. We had 12 people, and the Cornish hens, you just stuff it and bake it whole like you would a turkey. And then you just cut it in half. So I had 6 Cornish hens, fed 12 people. And then I just stayed away from all of the desserts and the vegetables and stuff like that. But when you are talking to somebody who is new and they're still struggling on keeping the gluten out of their diet and the oil out of their diet and the refined bleached sugars out of their diet, what helped you? Like even thinking outside of the holidays, when you're going to have lunch with a friend or you're going to a dinner party at night, what do you do earlier in the day to prepare yourself to not be hungry when you show up at that dinner?
I always, before, now I can't even have those things. Lately, I can't have what I used to do. But before I go, I would have my minerals, I would take all the minerals. And I would make a shake, a protein shake. So I would be full when I got there, and so I would just nibble on things. Guys, if you hear noises, my tummy is growling like a lion here, and I have no idea why.
Because we're talking about food.
Probably, and it's especially. I mean, my daughter probably shows she'd be rolling her eyes like, Mom, we can hear that. But I wasn't hungry before I started talking, and now all of a sudden I'm like ravenously hungry, maybe looking at all these things that I'm going to make for Christmas.
Right, it's your brain's memory talking about bread and meatballs and fish and noinky and all the other good stuff.
And so I just... I'd go there and I'd probably graze. People would say to me, why aren't you eating? Because I was so afraid of getting sick. Because what I found was when you eat, even at Christmas dinners, when you eat something and it's not good for you,
right?
your system wants to shut down. And you're kind of sitting at the table, and I'm sure if you look around the table at Christmas time, when everybody's eating, and you look at them, they're kind of nodding off.
Right.
You know, like they're listening to you talk, but you'll find their eyes will be drooping, and you know, their heads
they're glazed over.
Yeah, and you think,
yeah, the eyes are glazed over. That's right.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, you know, 3 or 4 meals. It just has to be basically, one meal, and it sets you off, you know. And what I found is the sugar. So lately, when I go out, I starve. I just basically do a mini fast, and I may drink water or may take an ACT energy with me. And when they say, do you want to eat anything, the only thing I have is a salad. I become a pescatarian like Michelle.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, you know, there's no fruit, no any sugars in my diet right now. It's been like that for the last 2 months, you know. So Christmas is going to, I am looking, I don't know if I'm looking forward to this Christmas, because that's basically what I have to eat. Because any sugar, any fruit sugar that I have just breaks out in candida on the skin. And I don't want that happening. So I do eat meat, but even the meat now has to be grass-fed. So when I think of what Dr. Walt says about sticking strictly to, you know, the basics of meat and protein and cut out your fruit, there's a reason for that. And that's because our gut doesn't want sugar. We just, you know, fat brains, and we just eat with our eyes. And so, of course, we're not even thinking what it's going to do in our stomach. Just saying, oh, that looks so yummy. Look at that cake. Let me eat it. And then you have to suffer later on. You know, it's not just your gut suffering, it's your brain that's suffering too.
That's right. That's right. So and I think what a lot of people don't realize too is that, you know, our body has memory in it. Every cell, muscle, everywhere in our body, they have memory cells. And just like a child might be frightened of a vision, right? Like you hear, it's kind of funny. But when I come across adults who are older and they're still afraid of clowns because they were afraid, they were frightened by clowns as a child, right?
My daughter doesn't like Santa Claus.
Well,
and she's 18, and when she saw him, she just said, "Just walk away from me, old man."
Well, in the same way a child would shy away, our cells in our body shy away and shut down from those toxic foods that we put in. And when our cells shut down, our body can't function, right? Our brain can't function. Our vision can't function. It gets blurry. And and so,
you notice that's the first thing. Christmas dinner. The first thing you notice is you eat anything, be it those salamis and prosciutto and, you know, processed foods. First thing you notice is, why is my vision going? You know, and you're kind of struggling to look, and it's almost like shutters going over your eyes.
Right.
But, So, and because I suffer with chronic fatigue, it's kind of a quick kind of thing, you know. And so right now, when I go out, I'm terrified of eating. I'm like, what can I eat? Stick to Michelle's diet, salad and fish. But even the fish, I have to make sure is a wild fish, you know. If it's one that's a farmed fish, then I'm as sick as a dog after that. So everything now is just kind of going old way. Like you eat grass-fed, you know, grass-fed beef, grass-fed lamb. Like what they did in biblical times. That's the way the system is going, the more healthy it becomes. So, of course, I've got a few fermented vegetables, which I will be making, a Christmas kraut. Sauerkraut with some apples and dried cranberries. I don't know how my kids are going to like that one, but, I think it would taste nice.
Right.
Plain salt, no sugars. The only sugar that's in there is orange juice. And probably and the cranberries, once it's been fermented, that too might not have a sugary taste.
Right.
It will be consumed by the bacteria.
Now, do you have a recipe for that you could share with us, that you could post under the tonight's call, the invite for tonight's call, and share that recipe with us? I will post those, which is a Christmas kraut that I have. And, now, the Christmas kraut, because I know you, so I know that you ferment your own kraut. So if you were to make that Christmas kraut, how do you prepare for that? Do you have to prepare a weekend ahead for that, or how could somebody pull that together at the last minute?
Well, they'd need a week, I think, or 3 days, because that takes 3 days to ferment.
Okay.
So it's just you're not going to make a lot. I don't think you want to make heaps, because maybe nobody will want to eat it except you. And, cabbage smells. So that's one, cabbage smells, and, people are like, oh, my kids are like, Mom, please, don't take that for Christmas. So, I am thinking, should I make the Christmas kraut, or should I make a kraut that I call Christmas wisdom kraut, which is butternut? Maybe, I don't know how those would smell. I haven't smelt them yet. But I haven't, smelled what those vegetables would smell like. And then, of course, you still got the same. But if you're making the cabbage, it's just half a cabbage, a small cabbage. And it just makes, I don't know, you guys, I know you're talking gallons and quarts and things like that. I think it's just, to me, that a half a gallon is like a half a liter bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be? Yeah, 1 gallon is 1 liter, or something like that. But that's how much it would make, a kind of a large bottle, like a pickle jar.
Right.
Large one.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just half a cabbage, 1 medium apple, and then a quarter cup of cranberries. Basically, that's how much. This is going to be one cabbage. And when a half a cabbage, when it's cut down, when it's fermenting, or when you mix it, and salt gets on it, it kind of reduces. When you shred it, it looks like so much, like a whole bowl, but it actually just reduces to half a bowl. So it would probably make just one kind of jar, one medium-sized jar that you would have. And basically, it's just 1 medium orange, the juice from the orange, and maybe some of the pulp, and half a packet of cutting-edge culture, and 1 cup of water. So it's not a lot, so you don't have to have big jars. And you just mix all that up with half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon of sea salt. I think, half a tablespoon of pink salt. It might taste salty, but once it's fermented, you find that the saltiness goes. And especially pink Himalayan salt is more like tears, so it's not a very salty salt. And that's basically it. And you mix all that together and put it in a jar, and top it with some filtered water, and then leave it for 3 days.
Right.
And then
that's
just put
nice.
it in your fridge. So
you just mix it all up, and then you let it sit.
Yeah, sit on your counter for 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do add to that, which I'm forgetting, is PDMs, plant-derived minerals, and flora effects. I like a little more because the juice then can be drank as a cough mixture or, to get rid of sore throats or something like that.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I tell you, that's one of the other things that I experience when I when I stop eating cleanly and introduce toxic foods, what I like to call it. But I notice my mouth gets very dried out, my lips start to chafe, and I get a sore throat, and I'll have a sore throat for about 3 days afterward. And so,
well, I think that's because of the foods that you're eating. With this now, the sauerkraut, or it is a sauerkraut, but I just call it Christmas because it's got apple and orange and the cranberries. It just kind of changes it, and strange. You think that apple and orange would taste bad in it, but it kind of gives it a nice flavor. And the apples taste just like the cabbage. You don't even realize that it's got apple in it.
Right.
So, you don't kind of feel the sore throat coming on. I think it's the sugars that are in the food, or I don't know if it's bacteria or what it is, but you get. I know I used to get those sore throats too after Christmas. But with this, it's something your system will actually make you want to eat. I mean, it smells bad. This one, fermenting cabbage always smells bad. But the Christmas wisdom kraut has butternut, which I can't eat. However, I just substitute that for the orange sweet potato. So it's got the butternut squash, onion, zucchini, and you can use a poultry seasoning. I don't know what you guys have there, but I use the Italian seasoning, so my kids think it smells like spaghetti. It's got pink salt, and it's got half a cup of apple juice in it. And then, of course, it's got the PDMs and the flora effects and the cutting-edge culture. That's basically it. And what's the salt? 2 teaspoons of Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan salt. And you just mix all that up and just stuff it in a bottle. You'll know how much you can put in a bottle. You can either use 2 small 500 ml mason jars, or one large. If you can get one large pickle jar, and as long as the top you have at least 2 inches or 3 inches above the water line, to give it a chance to, when it swells and it rises, you don't have it kind of popping the jar or spilling all over.
Right.
So, yeah. And that also takes 3 days. And I think that would be nice for a change. And you eat all these fermented pickles and feel good.
Right.
Instead of feeling sick. And then you can top it off with a cake.
Yeah.
A Kefir chocolate cake, instead of having one of those Christmas cakes that are going to kill you because it's so jam-packed full of sugar.
Right.
If you've got zucchinis growing in your garden or something like that and you want to use them up, then you can make a chocolate kefir cake, which is basically just, half a cup of butter, or 1 cup of butter, because I don't like coconut oil. Some people like to use coconut oil. So you're going to, you can use half and half, but I just use 1 cup of butter and 1 cup of kefir, 3 tablespoons of raw cacao, or I've tried it with cocoa gelatin. I don't know if people would like that kind of taste. You could work around that. And then it's got 2 cups of zucchini, 2 eggs, vanilla extract. For sugar, I haven't tried it with the maple syrup. I kind of tried it with stevia, and I don't like the aftertaste of that, so maybe maple syrup, some people might like to use that, or agave.
Right.
To give a taste, a cup of agave syrup or something like that. And then it's just got a teaspoon of sea salt, Celtic sea salt, a teaspoon of baking powder, and sprouted wheat flour. Now you can get, Amazon has sprouted spelt flour, and that's just flour that's been, grains that have been sprouted to get rid of toxins and to break down the, the gluten. So it's a kind of prebiotic, because once it's sprouted and then milled into flour, what you do is when you're mixing the K-cup, you mix the flour and the kefir together, and you let it sit for a while you get all the other things ready. And it kind of ferments it a little bit more.
Okay.
You can do it an hour ahead, like mix the flour and kefir together and leave them to stand for an hour, and then mix all the other ingredients in, and it comes out really nice. It's a little different, but the sprouted flour has already been, broken down, so it's kind of pre-digested.
Right.
And the gluten, it doesn't have a lot of gluten, because when it's sprouted and then made into flour, most of the gluten is used up. So you got to kind of learn how to work with it, because it's slightly different to flour now that has gluten in it. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll let you guys all know when I break out.
Yeah, dude. That sounds, wow.
Sprouted flour is not the thing, to use.
But
that's one of the things.
It's so important to be able to learn and to know how to make these desserts and type recipes. I think so many people default to, it's gluten-free, right? The box gluten-free. It's gluten-free flour. But what they don't realize is the brown rice flour is sugar, right? When they start to replace that flour, and you see things like, brown rice flour, or what's the other one? What is the other one? Gives it the
quinoa
tea.
Flour, millet flour. Yeah, they all.
And it's sugar.
Grain.
It's sugar, sugar. Yeah, and so. What a great idea. I would never have think of making a cake with zucchini. Yeah,
it's using equal parts of zucchini with the sprouted flour, but the sprouted flour is pre-digested, you know what I mean? It's already broken down. And when you're sprouting it, you have to wash it a number of times before the root system comes through. And once it sprouts these little hairy roots, you kind of rinse them, and that just breaks down the toxins that are on the skin of the spelt berries or the wheat berries, whichever one you want to use. I prefer the spelt because it hasn't been genetically modified. And it breaks those toxins down through, and you're washing them out. And that's what they used to do in ancient times, is sprout the wheat, because they didn't know how to grind it, and what to do with it.
Right.
So
that's right.
They would sprout them and wash them a number of times to get rid of all the toxins out of them, because seeds have toxins on them, so that things don't eat them up and they can grow. So once that's washed down, and then you dry it, and you have to sun dry it or dehydrate it till it's really dry, and break that down again into flour. When you're using the kefir, you're kind of fermenting it a second time. It's being fermented, because kefir will ferment anything. And you're kind of making like a fermented dough or flour or cake flour or whatever. And then you add all the other things. It's broken down a little more if you leave it for an hour or two. If you're using it to make your breads for Christmas, then you would leave it to ferment for at least 20 hours, 24 hours. And that really breaks it down, really digests the flour. And that's what sourdough is all about, because it becomes really sour, and it doesn't have any sugar at all, because all it has is salt.
Okay.
And so, yeah, whatever the kefir, the whey that you use from the kefir milk, it just eats all the sugar up, and it eats all the gluten. So basically, you kind of got this. You got a heavy bread, very airy, and it's pre-digested. So there's no gluten. I know Dr. Glidden and Dr. Wallace say no bread, no gluten, but they haven't looked further into it to see the process of what's happened to the flour, and this is taking flour to another level.
Yeah, and that's something I'm just learning about, too. Like, you had introduced this to me about 2 weeks ago, I think, or maybe last month, I think, with that beautiful book, the traditional cookbook that you had, and you had shared some of that with me. And that was my first introduction, because my first thought was, what, wheat? And then as you explained to me how it sprouts, right, and how you're working with it, it made more sense to me. I understood better what you were actually achieving and all of that. I have a really neat dessert idea, and we kind of jumped from stuffed Cornish hens as a main meal to dessert. That's okay. My kids love pie. They love apple pie, peach pie, berry pie, and I've never been a big pie maker.
Well, but you could probably use the sprouted flour for the crust, the base.
Well, I was thinking that you could. Now, we don't have, what we do end up doing in our house is we don't have any nut allergies in our house, but you can take equal parts of hazelnut, macadamian, and pecan, or walnut, depending if you want a sweeter or a drier crust. Drier crust, use the walnut. Sweeter crust, use the pecan. And I just use my coffee grinder, and I grind all those nuts up, and I, cut butter in it, real butter, and we press that out, and that's what we use as our crust for our pies. And it's amazing.
I used to do that.
Yeah.
You make your crust with the being blood type, I'd use the walnuts.
Right.
But I find I can't even eat nuts now.
Yeah.
So, I for my kids, we have nut allergies in this house, and even though we've been on minerals for years, the tree nuts, my son hasn't been able to get over those nuts. So all tree nuts we can't have. He can eat peanuts, which is so strange.
Normally it's flipped. Yeah,
and he can eat peanut butter, and he's fine with that. But he cannot eat any of the other nuts. However, I just thought, since we have so many, and every paleo, you name whatever, the raw foods or whatever, they all use nuts. And what happens to the people who have all these allergies? How are they going to, what are they going to make and eat, or how are they going to have their Christmases? So I kind of thought of how my gran used to cook and had to go back and find all these things. And the only thing that comes up is that she used to always sprout her flour. And, I looked around, and I guess you guys have a lot more of the sprouted flours there. And I think that's the way to go for those people who have problems. Even though they may have a wheat problem, spelt flour with us, we were also gluten intolerant, but we found that spelt worked perfectly fine. And einkorn, that's another flour that's very available in the U.S., it's great for baking biscuits and cakes. It only has 2 chromosomes, whereas spelt has 3. But it's from ancient times, from biblical times. And that particular brand, einkorn, is readily available for you guys, and it's also sprouted. It can, so it's broken down as well. It doesn't need to be sprouted, but there are some people that sprout them and make them into flour. So, you could use it in anything. Zucchini pancakes, they come out pretty good.
Now, when you're looking to collect the grain to sprout, what is there particular? How do you find that grain? Because you obviously wouldn't want mass-produced.
Spelt flour is not mass-produced, and einkorn is not mass-produced as wheat is.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They are, because they are ancient grains. They're still more expensive. I bought 2 bags of sprouted spelt flour today. They're $15.40 a kilo each.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so
that's in Aussie dollars, probably cheaper in U.S. dollars, you know what I mean?
Right, I understand. Yeah. And so for somebody who's never sprouted grain, what does that look like? Like for me, what does that look like? Once you've sprouted, can you use those sprouts and then sprout another batch?
When you say use those sprouts, like use it in growing the grain, or?
Well, yeah. Like after you use, because you're actually sprouting the that's what you're using, right? Is the grain that you're sprouting off of?
You're buying, what would you buy? A kilo of grain? You'd have to buy if you bought a kilo of grain, you'd have to sprout them all. You'd have to put them all in a bucket and sprout them all. And then dry them up.
Okay.
And dry them or dehydrate them. And grind them in a Vitamix, in one of those Vitamix that can grind grain or coffee or whatever. Grind them in that.
Yeah. Okay, and then the next time I want to sprout, I would need to go get another kilo of
grain. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know how much of flour you'd get from a kilo once it's sprouted and ground up. I guess maybe a kilo. You can't go more than that. So, it can't be growing more unless, I think it would be a kilo, maybe a kilo and a half, once it's all ground up. I don't know. It wouldn't double in size, I presume. But, yeah, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to sprout it all the time, you know what I mean? If you want to do that on your own, but they, like Amazon sells sprouted flour already, that's already done. King Arthur or something like that is a company that has them as well in the U.S. I only want to sprout my own because we don't have flour like that. And somebody said to me, "Oh, there's a new company that does it now." So check it out. So I don't have to sprout my own flour then. So they said, no, you can just go and you can get it. It's somewhere in Melbourne. And I said, well, let me go and check. And they had spelt flour there for $15.90 a kilo. But I bought the grains for $9 a kilo.
Yeah, we can't beat that. Yeah. That's not bad. That's pretty good, yeah.
I can't eat the grain because lately, any bread that I eat, I come up with a severe rash all over my body, and I don't want to do that anymore. I mean, I'd love to, but just be able to just eat everything and anything. But I think once you get used to doing this, because in biblical times, I guess they did that too, sprout the thing. And then grind it down and use it, to make their hot cakes, pancakes, whatever they call them, kind of little, crackers or whatever. And that's how it was. I know sprouted bread is the whole grain. And Dr. Glidden says, do not eat sprouted bread because it hasn't been further broken down.
But you second ferment it. You actually let it ferment a little bit while you're preparing your other ingredients to help break that down.
It breaks it down. So that's basically, and if you're making bread, the sourdough is the best bread to make, but it takes 24 hours to ferment. And you can ferment it even longer, 36 hours if you want.
Right. Yeah, I would love I actually would love to do that. You'll have to share that recipe
and I think,
with me in writing so I can follow it.
Yeah. You could make the Christmas Stollen like that, and that's, that's like a bread, a German bread that's done that way, and it's very good. It does have marzipan in it for those who want to put something in it, raisins and marzipan, and then dusted with the, But I think for us, it would change Christmas. So you'd have your fermented vegetables. You have your fermented kefir cake.
Right.
And for dessert,
well, I just wanted to throw in
peanut butter kefir ice cream.
Well, and I just wanted to throw in there real quickly. You had mentioned that you have transitioned into a pescatarian diet, and the grain-free stuffing. My dad used to make the best stuffed fish. And that grain-free stuffing would be excellent. I think would be an excellent choice with fish as well.
What was used in that?
I posted the ingredients under the invite on Wellness Warriors. But it's diced onion, diced celery, it's diced apple to give a little bit of a sweet flavor. You have the option of throwing some raisins or dried cranberries in there, but you obviously would want to skip that with your sensitivity to the sugars. But it has almond flour, and then the spices in it are sage, thyme, marjoram, rosemary, pepper and salt, obviously. But just with the spices in the apple, I think that alone would pair very well with fish.
That's got almond flour in it for me, Andrea.
Well, you'll have to sprout your own 2 cups. You'll have to sprout 2 cups of flour to go in there, grain to go in there.
I'd have to find an alternative for that. That's the only thing that I would just have. You know what I would do? I would use the fish. If I could get a whole, blue-eye cod, which is a deep sea fish, I would just salt it and put garlic. You know how they slit the skin and put garlic in it. Put the garlic in it, and then I would lay coriander inside the fish and on top of the fish. And just put a bit of butter on it, and let it bake in the oven, open, so it's ready. And you find it's very tasty. I would eat it like that with the fermented vegetables and, fermented cocktail grapes. You guys can make that for Christmas, They're very yummy. They seedless grapes that 2 cups of seedless grapes, 3 cloves of garlic. If you like chives, you can put in some fresh chives in it or green onion. I like the red onion, so I put half a red onion. And it has a cinnamon stick, a couple pieces of ginger, and Celtic sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, half a teaspoon. And it has a quarter cup of the cutting edge vegetable culture. And basically you let that ferment. Eats up the sugar, and you've got these amazing cocktail grapes.
Right.
Yeah, that don't have any
So tell us now. Yeah, so tell us now. So we've had we got through dinner, right? We've had our main course and we've had our dessert, and now everybody is moving to the after dinner drinks.
What would you have for that?
What is your go-to? What will you be drinking while everybody else is drinking their dessert coffees?
Kombucha or my ferment or my coffee. You know, I made the coffee.
Right. You made the coffee kombucha. Yeah.
But that you have to make 2 weeks in advance. Coffee you have to make 2 weeks in advance. It's quite different to kombucha itself. Kombucha only takes 7 days or whatever to ferment, and then you can drink it. Now that it's your winter, I'm talking about this thing, but 4 days in summer.
Right.
But you can drink it immediately, and you could probably make a mocktail kind of pretend kind of what you call drink by just adding a bit, like if you want to add some. Like some people may want a cocktail drink, and they're thinking, well, what can I drink? Well, what did I do with the paper now? I had it right in front
You
of
could
me.
use, what about the essential oil, the orange essential oil? Orange is very good in coffee.
Well, you could put a sprig, in your kombucha, in your green kombucha, you could put a sprig of rosemary in it. And you could put cranberries, the fresh cranberries into it, and then leave it to stand for till the cranberries split. Maybe overnight or a day before Christmas, and you'll find that it'll be ready on Christmas Day to drink.
Right.
Now,
and what about
a good one? But the coffee you have to make 2 weeks in advance.
Okay. Well, we better
let it stand
get started on that tonight, then, huh?
It takes 7 days.
What about someone? So, what about somebody who likes, who's wanting to kind of move to the coffee kombucha, but likes a little chocolate flavor in their coffee? How would you bring that to?
Well, I think you could add just the cocoa to the coffee. When you're boiling it.
Okay. I wondered when you would throw that in. So you would not do it when you're fermenting it. You would do it when you're boiling the coffee. Yes.
When you I think you'd boil it all together. So, the coffee and the raw cacao or cocoa or whatever you're going to use. And let them, boil together, add your sugar, and then when it's cool, pour it into your jar and let it ferment all together.
Right.
Yeah. So
I'm coming to your house for Christmas.
You're welcome to come to my house. It's going to be different. But that's what I'm taking with me. I'm carrying my food with me to Christmas this year.
Yeah, I am too.
And I know my husband is going to say to his mother, well, I'm going to eat what my wife cooked because I don't want to be sick, and that's just going to cause so much of problems. I'm going to have to listen to so much, and I'm going to have to hold my tongue. And, where I sit, behind me is the Last Supper. And whenever I sit there in our house and pray to God, please hold my tongue and don't let me say anything, he always, something comes, I'm saying things and I'm like, oh my God, that's not me. That's not me. it's so sad because it kind of makes, I don't know, she just feels I'm trying to put her down or something. But basically that's what it is. And I hope everybody, who's listening, please guys, stand up. If you can't eat the dinners, don't be afraid to say, look, I can't eat that and I don't want to be sick. The worst thing you can do is sit there and eat everything just to please everyone, and then you are sick as a dog for the next, 2 weeks. And I think most of us are so afraid to do that. We're so afraid to hurt people's feelings that we just sit there and we just eat everything just to make them happy. And yet you are the one that's suffering and not them. And why I say that is because my mother-in-law said a couple of weeks ago when I didn't eat anything, I was so happy when you were eating everything. And now you've gone back to your old religion. And I was like, I had to hold my tongue. And I came home and I said, are they happy when I'm sick? Are they that happy that I cannot get out of bed or I can't do anything? It makes her happy. What about me? So, we'll be strong and just don't deny things and say, well, you know what, I will please you. Just be yourself and say, that's it. Enough is enough. I can't eat it.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at their
it saves us in the long run. Every Christmas, every one of us puts on weight. And we put on weight so unnecessarily because we just people pleasers, and wanting to please everybody and not upset the apple cart. And I think that's what we have to do. We're going over time now. And Michelle's not here to say, wrap it up, everybody. Michelle, we missed you today.
We did. We missed you. Missed Michelle, and we missed Mark this evening as well. But yes. But it was great getting all of these recipes and all of these ideas.
I will post.
I'll be joining you.
To you, Andrea.
I'll be joining you, Tracey, because I will be getting up and I will be taking my minerals and my vitamins. I will be taking them again before I go out, and I will be making sure that I am well fed throughout the day. So, because the worst thing is being there in front of those foods when you really are hungry. It just makes it that much harder.
Michelle posted something, and Michelle, if you're listening, it is so true. We take things for granted. And we don't even. There are so many people out there that don't eat, and of course we do binge, and and then we have the audacity to blame everybody else but ourselves,
right?
And so maybe this Christmas we ought to be a little more grateful. I know you guys had Thanksgiving, and we only have Christmas here, so. For all those people who don't have places to go to, maybe we ought to invite one of them home. You probably do something
that
like
is an amazing idea. And we brought a homeless man that we had seen repetitively, and my husband went and met with him and befriended him and would go and meet with him during the day and take him lunch daily. And we ended up bringing him back to our house over Christmas. He actually ended up staying with us for 2 weeks. And but we did. We got his life, helped him get his life turned around. And it was an amazing experience. And it was a very fearful experience for me to begin with because I had children. And my motherly instinct, right? But it worked out very well, and he was such a blessing. I mean, he was highly educated and had an amazing career, got cut from the company just before retirement, and was sleeping on a park bench and had been for almost a year before my husband met him.
Well, I think, that's where we've moved away from. That's, helping others. We become so materialistic. And, Christmas is not a time for giving and sharing anymore. It's a time to be ostentatious and, buy all these Christmas gifts and spend so much of money on frivolous things. Right. Without even thinking, it's not necessary because, the next morning everybody wakes up and all those things that you spend so much of money on is not even thought of again. Right. People put them up for auctions and sell the things. And here we are, we have a lot of homeless people and a lot of people that probably just need a kind word. And, need to be invited and said, come over and sit down and have a meal with us. That's all we have. Is to be able to feed
it's so much nicer. It's so much nicer to give that than just give a check to a company and let the company handle it. It's so nice to give that time and to give that eye contact. I mean, there were times, a couple of times, just listening to his name was Dennis, and just listening to him talk and making eye contact with him that I could tell just really penetrated his heart. Because he had been overlooked for so long. Look,
my gran used to do that in South Africa. And people used to say to her, why do you invite all these people? You don't even know them. They are homeless people. But I always remember her saying, when there was riots in South Africa in 1940-something, and this was something she'd always do, she said, the amazing thing that happened was all those people stood up. And she said it was just in that community, the people that she used to invite home were all saved. Everybody else was killed, but all those people that she saved came to her house, and she was able to stand up in front, and they stood with her and said that if they were going to kill them, they'd have to kill her first. And I always think, every Christmas we'd always have strangers come to our table. I don't know where she found them, but, that was something that made you think, well, it's so important that people have that. The little gestures, not the expensive ones, but the little things that make such a big difference. And those are the things that people remember, not all the other things that we've done. And so this Christmas is going to be a little different. Nobody's getting this in my house. This Christmas, they're going to all have to think about, what it is to share and be giving. Because at the end of the day, I know with my kids, come the next day or the week after, it's like, Mom, what did you buy all this for? We didn't need it. And things are just thrown around. So we're not doing that this year. Things are changing. So I hope you guys all have a good Christmas. We better get off here before we start boxing. These bloody people, what did they do? Take another hour?
It's so wonderful talking with you, Tracey. And I know that we talk a couple of times during the month anyway, but it is always so educational and so delightful. And I just, when we don't talk, I miss you so much. And so thank you so much for sharing what you're going to be doing for Christmas. And
but you know what, guys? Just to interrupt you there, Andrea, the next time I think we have to talk about is the creams that we've been making. Hopefully you can make yours. But I think that's what it is. We're going back to the olden days, centuries ago, to make these, and maybe Michelle would like to know about those creams as well. Everybody who's suffering with the eczema and itch after Christmas, we'll have a remedy for that too. So,
yes. Oh my goodness, what an amazing talk that would be, because there are so many out there who are so desperate for something that works. I know I myself have spent so much money and just product after product after product instead of come across something that's all natural and that I can tailor make to smell the way I want it to smell. And have it heal my skin. It's just amazing.
Not that you can get rid of all the smell, Andrea, that you would.
All right. Well, I'm going to say a quick prayer, and we're going to say good night then. Or Tracey, would you like to lead us in prayer, a closing prayer?
Oh, come on, you do that for us.
Okay. All right. God, we just want to thank you so much for Tracey and for Michelle and for Mark and for everybody who joined us this evening and is listening to us. And we just hope that everyone will delight in the recipes that we shared and that we posted. We hope to get tremendous feedback of how wonderful it was after they and their families have tried it. And God, we just ask everyone who's listening to do one small act of kindness for homeless before Christmas this year. Just one small act. If it's just shaking their hand and saying hello, buying them a meal, inviting them for dinner, inviting them for 2 weeks like we did last year. And just pray that you put it on their heart, that you open their heart, that you have people plant the seed for them to give and have people come and harvest that seed for them to give more to take care of your homeless children this year. Mm-hmm. And so just thank you for this time this evening. And I don't want it to end. I want to keep talking, but we love you, God, and we bless you, and we hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Amen. Bye.
Times it was hard to bear, but the Lord always seen you. From work, family, and your friends, trouble seem to linger around. Don't worry about a thing, just remember to always say you're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. You're a survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. You're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. Survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. Trying to hold on to your faith, but your past keeps weighing you down. People trying to judge you on the way they view your life. Now who are they to judge? They didn't walk in your pain. Don't worry about a thing, just remember to always say you're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. Survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. You're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. So survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. They don't know about you. Let them assume what they want about you. They don't know about you. God's got you. He's got you. They don't know about you. Let them assume what they want about you. They don't know about you. God's got you. He's got you. You're a survivor. You've been through the fire. Soul survivor. God's been with you all along. You're a survivor. You've been through the fire. Soul survivor. You're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. Soul survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. about you. God's got you. He's got you. They don't know about you. Let them assume what they want about you. They don't know about you. God's got you. He's got you. You're a survivor. You've been through the fire. Strong survivor. God's been with you all along. You're a survivor. You've been through the fire. Strong survivor. You're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. Strong survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else. You're a survivor. Been through too much, can't keep it to yourself. Strong survivor. Gotta run and go tell somebody else.